Welcome back to the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. I'm happy to have you here. So great to have this podcast, put it out in the world, and meet great people just like you. And if I haven't met you yet, hey, we need to do this, and we need to do it soon. Excited to have you reach out. howtopodcast.ca is how to get in touch with me. We have great stuff over there. And one thing we don't talk about often is our meetup group, where we meet up on Meetup. A lot of meetups there. And we get together with other podcasters just like you to encourage you in your journey as a podcaster. So if you're interested, howtopodcast.ca. We'd love to see you over there and join us for our upcoming meetups. They're free. Doesn't cost you a penny. We'd love to have you there. So I got accused of something recently. And when I first was accused of this, my first initial reaction was,
how dare you?
Exactly that. How dare you? Yes, no, but it was actually a good thing. And I've never actually been called this before. So it made me go down a little rabbit hole and did some research to find out that, hey, this might actually be true. And I wanted to share it with you here on the podcast. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. I promise this is not the beginning of a really terrible dad joke, but what does Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, Maya Angelou, and Richard Branson have in common? It's a very unique trait. It's not really that common. And I was accused of this. And now I'm wondering if it's true, and I think it might be as I go through the research. These people mentioned have something in common. They have the title, the distinction of being a multipotentialite. Multipotentialite. A multipotentialite. Isn't that fun to say? Okay, you try now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Multipotentialite. There you go. So now you can sound really smart at work tomorrow. There you go. That's a freebie for you. A multipotentialite. I've never been called that before. And it made me go, what the heck is that? So, I think I've actually found my title. I'm going to make a shirt out of it, maybe. I don't know. Possibly. It's a very interesting trait in that as podcasters, as creative people, we feel like we have so many different interests and creative pursuits. And it makes it challenging for us to answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Have you ever struggled with that question? I have. I continue. I'm in my 50s, and I'm still struggling with what I want to be when I grow up. A multipotentialite could be your superpower. So I got a couple clues to help you identify if you're like me as a multipotentialite. It's still hard to say, but this might give you some insight as to whether or not you fit into this as well. See if this works for you. Clue number 1, you have a very non-linear career path. Do you find yourself switching between different roles, companies, industries that may seem completely unrelated, like no connection at all between job A and job B? Multipotentialites have diverse career paths, applying transferable skill sets across different disciplines completely. Now think about your podcasting journey. Can you embrace this diversity? I look back at my career to date. I have worked in retail. I've been a limousine driver. I have been a recruiter. I have worked in youth group homes. I have been a speaker, coach, teacher, musician, artist, woodworker. I've done audio editing, podcaster. Don't forget that. And it just keeps going on and on. Like, none of these things, if you put them on the board as in grade school and were asked to pick what your job's going to be when you grew up, none of these things make sense. And they seem so disjointed, disconnected from each other. And like I'm chasing nuts like a squirrel. I'm all over the place. I do not have a linear career path. Went to school, studied the subject, became an expert in the subject, and then did that for a living. That's not me. I'm a multi-potentialite. I love it. How about this clue? Idea generation. Are you constantly coming up with new ideas? Oh, my wife Jen would just be like, oh gosh, perhaps more than you can handle. Do you have ideas just coming to you like crazy? For multi-potentialites, generating ideas is a passion. It's not a task, and we excel at it. Imagine infusing this into your podcast, keeping your content fresh and engaging for your audience. When we fall into boredom, we sometimes abandon the idea. But when you have a steady train of ideas coming to you all the time, I have more episodes that I can record than I have time, because the ideas just keep coming. So those are a couple of clues to whether or not you might be a multi-potentialite like me. So here's some things to ask yourself. 3 crucial questions based on what we've kind of talked about so far. Number 1, do you often find yourself drawn to various topics in your podcast and you struggle to stick to just one idea for your podcast? Dave, you have 8 different shows. Okay, that's me. Number 2, are you someone who thrives on generating ideas and has a list of potential podcast projects? It's like I'm looking in a mirror. Yeah, that's me. I have more ideas for other shows. And now I'm beyond one podcast a day. I've got 8 different podcasts. So yeah, I'm running out of days. How about number 3? Can you envision your podcast evolving dynamically, embracing change, and offering a variety of content to your audience? These 3 questions, serve as a compass to navigate your unique strengths in the podcasting landscape. So my question to you, do you feel like because you have so many ideas that's your Achilles heel? That's the thing that's stopping you. That's the thing that's harming your progress. It might just be your superpower and something that you need to not avoid and run from or get discouraged with, but it could be something that is your idea generation, your motor, your engine that's going to power your podcast into the future and give you ideas beyond ideas. And one thing I heard somebody tell me many years ago, and it's really stuck with me, is that we as creative people, we need to dream out loud. For one reason, not every dream that comes to you is yours to fulfill. You're just the one that is willing and open to dream. Where other people struggle in this, they're not multi-potentialites like you and I. They are looking to someone like us to be the dreamer, to talk out loud, to share ideas that we can never follow up on. Like an uncorked bottle, it just keeps flowing out of us. And we're not responsible to do everything we dream about. And I think that's where, for me, where I get frustrated is I have all these ideas and I know I can't execute on all of them. So then I feel like I'm burying myself in disappointment in the fact that I can't do what I want to do on all these great ideas I can't commit to. But I can share them. I can put them out into the world. And then maybe you, that might not be a multi-potentialite like me, might be able to go, I want to lean on Dave's ideas. I want to lean on his insight. I want to lean on the things that he's putting out in the world that I know he can't execute, but I might learn something. I might get an idea that sparks something for me, because it's a struggle for me to come up with ideas and it just flows out of Dave. So instead of bottling up your ideas, instead of being afraid to feel like you have to commit to every idea you have and every thought that comes into you or flows out of you. Stop worrying about that and dream out loud and share your dreams and be very vocal. And another thing, a visual that I love is if you could right now, if you're not driving or operating any kind of gym equipment, if you could put your hands out in front of you, open palm up, and I'm doing this as I'm talking, and look into your hands. I got my hands side by side. My pinky fingers are lining up together, and I have my hands wide open, and there's nothing in my hands. Now imagine if you have something in your hands. So I'm picking up my pen. So now I'm closing my fist around my pen, and it's locked in the grip of my two hands. Can you picture that? Okay, so when I'm holding it with my hands clasped around my pen, I have no more room in my hands to accept anything else. You couldn't give me another pen because my hands are bound up around the one pen that I'm holding. But if I was to open my fingers, and now my pen is loosely rolling in my hands back and forth, I now have room for another pen. I can actually have multiple pens in my hand. And the other nice thing about doing this is if you need a pen, I have one right here. You can have one of my pens. So not only is keeping my hands open, allowing people to give me more, it's allowing people to take from me as well. To take a pen. It's like that leave a penny, need a penny, take a penny, whatever that is. We don't even have pennies in Canada, so we can't even do that. But anyways, it's that idea that an open hand, an open jar, an open invite to add to my plate, or if there's something you need, to take something from my plate. And that's how I approach my podcasts. Is there are many podcasters that fiercely grip their show in their hands. They have white knuckles as they do not want anyone to take their idea. They do not want anybody to steal their ideas or their excitement for their subject or their podcast idea. And they're like, don't do it. How dare you? Right? Or there's people like us, these multi-potentialites who have more ideas than we have time. And it's easier for us and better for us if we have our hands wide open, willing to share, willing to give you the ideas that we can execute on, and being okay with that, and actually celebrating that. Because my idea that's not been put into place, that becomes your passion, and I can then say, great, something great is happening in the world that I couldn't get to, but you could do it for me. That's amazing. So think about this. Hands wide open, palms up, and people can then give to you because you have more space with your hands open, or people can take from you as they need it. And I think that's something we can all do in life, in content creation, with our families, with our relationships, hands wide open, and allowing people to give and take as they need from us. I think that's a better way to do life, and a better way to deal with our multi-potentialite trait, which I now figured out based on the wisdom of others that's kind of where I'm at. So as you go through your podcast and as you do your planning, where do you sit? Are you like me? Are you a multi-potentialite? Or are you the opposite? I would love to hear howtopodcast.ca and let me know where you sit on this scale. Multi-potentialites, we're together on this. Unite. We're here for each other. And if you need any help with your podcast on ideas generation or building your podcast, growing your podcast, starting your show, you're totally lost and you're like, Dave, I need your help. I would love to talk to you, and you can spend time with me in my calendar, create a spot, and let's get together. Talk about your show, talk about your idea, go through maybe some of your pain points, your struggles, and let's see what we can do together. I would love to help you. And again, this is all the support you need for your podcast without the snark, that you're going to get from some of the other shows out there. I'm here for you, and I'm here to help you succeed. howtopodcast.ca. My name is Dave, and I would love to talk to you. Take care. And for all you multi-potentialites out there, I see you. Happy podcasting, everyone. Hey, thank you for sticking all the way through to the very end. It's bittersweet that the episode is over and that we're done for this episode, but you will come back and I will come back, and there's you and me, and we're one big happy family here at the How to Podcast series, far beyond being just pod pals, which is fine, but I'd much rather do life together as family here. And to that end, a reminder, as we talked earlier in other episodes as well, that we do have a meetup group, and you are invited. I would love to have you come. It's free. We do them scattered throughout our calendar, different days, different times, because we have people listening around the world, like Cuba and Warsaw, Poland. Hi, Cuba. It's amazing how we can reach the world with a podcast. So through our meetup group, what we do is we get together. It's free for you. Cost me money, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. We get together, we meet other podcasters, we talk podcasting, and it's a way to get from behind the microphone, sitting by ourselves, recording on our own, and doing community. Podcasters need community. You need to meet other podcasters. And just in a low-key, fun environment, talk podcasting. So my challenge to you in 2024 and beyond is to get into a meetup group, find other podcasters, introduce yourself, and make new friends. It's just like school all over again, grade 9. Let's meet each other and share the podcast journey. Go to howtopodcast.ca and click on all the information you'll find there around our meetups. And I'd love to have you there. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next episode. Get out there and record your podcast. Take care.